Hi YouTube! So here's another video of the things that I've seen through my journeys through the thrift stores, but I didn't purchase. They are basically noteworthy and I had to take a picture of them. First of all, there's this vase that has a actual seahorse embedded in it with some sort of acrylic. And here's another vase. I found it very interesting, very nice workmanship, but it's just something I wasn't too keen on buying. And here is a vintage car steering wheel lock, or I think it's for a steering wheel. I thought it was pretty cool, probably from the 70s. And here is a Nintendo, I think it's a Nintendo Switch. I don't know, $49.99. Is that cheap? It was in the display case. And also in the display case, there was this stuffed alligator, baby alligator. Pretty freaky looking. And here's this wall pocket. I think it's made in Japan. Now that's also pretty freaky. And that was from the Value Village, $3.99. And this is very creative. They use spark plugs to make this little, like this cockfight figurine. And here is a gigantic vase that's sitting on the floor of the thrift store. Huge. And this clock is very interesting. It's set in this, I guess, piece of stone. Very interesting. And then here's some African metalwork. I think it's Asante brass work. Very cool. And hey, you never know what you'll find in the thrift store. Look, I found a Ferrari right in the middle of the thrift store. I think it's just the pedal car. I don't remember it having a battery. Oh, and there's a saddle right behind the counter. Pretty cool. Looks well worn and weathered. And look, this is like a 1950s coffee craft, atomic age style. $12.99. Oh, Pac-Man cup, or glass, I should say. But if it wasn't so washed and worn, I would have picked it up. Oh, Starbucks mugs, very nice. Vintage. These actually can sell for good money online. And 3 of them right there. I don't know why I didn't pick it up. Look at this. Someone was very creative and made a table out of scrapped wood. This would sell in some posh hipster store on Main Street. And here is some, I believe, French porcelain. I thought it was pretty cool looking. Probably 100 years old. This is a vintage piggy bank, ceramic piggy bank with the happy face symbol. I mean, that was considered new back then. I think that's like from the 70s. And hey, this brings me back to my youth. This is when computer paper was actually held in like these holders on the printer. And this is a pretty good creamer. Like there's a lot of markings on the bottom, very sellable. And then we have this shelving unit, hanging shelving unit that's actually made from a thing that holds the little letters for printers. And this is a stuffed baby alligator's head keychain. Another freaky item. And this, I think it's to hold hairpins, like, yeah. Or it could be a flower frog, I'm not too sure. And this is interesting. It's a CD player that's made to look like a can of Japanese beer. It was actually quite huge, sitting on the shelf. I think it was like Kirin beer. And then this was pretty cool, very historical, like World War II, probably post World War II, remembering Winston Churchill of the UK. And this is a very interesting little dish, European. Oh, and this is some sort of Dutch sugar cookie mold, or is it butter cookie? I think this one is like probably from the 70s or 80s. Some people actually collect them. And this is a little tiny little tiki wooden mug, also very collectible. Not my cup of tea. And this I thought was pretty interesting. Wonder why it didn't sell. Actually, it probably would sell these days, but not back then. Yeah, this is pretty interesting. I wonder if this is like a salesman's sample. It looks like a coffin, mini coffin. And this is actually from I forgot the name of it's from a French glass manufacturer. When you see the bees on it, actually pretty pricey, brand new. Oh, and here are some vintage Nintendo guns. But I'm not a reseller, so I mean, I just thought it was cool to see. And this, my son used to love these things, Gundam models. This huge one would have been like super expensive, brand new. But when I open it up, it looks like someone already started to assemble part of it. And my son, once it's been, played around with, he had no interest. Oh, this is pretty cool. It's a ceramic vintage cigarette case. The only bad thing, I think it's Rosenthal. Bad thing was the crack on one panel. If it didn't have the crack, I would have picked it up. I think without the crack, it would be worth like $50. So that's probably from maybe from the 30s or 40s. This is a piece of art glass. It's an art glass vase from Quebec, Canada, and it's actually signed on the bottom. And I think I didn't pick up because there was a little bit of damage on the side of it. See, it's marked right there with the Ponto mark. Very cool. And I had to laugh when I saw this. Yeah, Mrs. Coinpicker would have loved it. And this, I was scratching my head when I saw this. I was thinking, got to keep your mind out of the gutter. And what the heck? Someone donates like an old dog collar, and look at the price that they charged. City of Penticton, that's probably like an hour or two from us. Oh, this is cool. I think I put it down thinking about buying it, and like within 20 minutes it disappeared. It's a vintage local can. This is pretty cool. It's silver plate, but it's enameled on the inside. And I think there was some damage or cracking on the inside of the enamel, but it's from Denmark. And that's the mark on the side, or actually on the bottom under the lip. Yeah, that if it was in perfect shape, it would have been worth like $80, I think. And also an interesting little, I think it's a little container for like mustard or something, with its blue liner, and also European. Yeah, also from Denmark. If I was a reseller, I would buy things like that to put online. But, you know, this I thought was funny. It's an ashtray made out of wood. Like seriously, you got to think ahead. Like you're going to cause a fire. And this is a vintage or antique invalid cup. Like they used to feed medicine and tea to bedridden people. Pretty cool though. And this, I think it's from Hong Kong, and that Brandy Martelli, I think it's called. It's like bilingual, so it's spelled out in Chinese characters and also in English. 99 cents each. There was two of them. I could have flipped that online. This lamp was pretty cool. So it's like a yarn spinner, or what you call it, lamp. I don't know, pretty different. These two ceramic items were pretty cool. Cool enough to take a picture of, but not cool enough to purchase. For me, that is. And I don't know, once in a while I see these vintage microscopes in the box at the thrift store. Didn't want to play around with it, so didn't buy it. This is pretty cool, little metal shoe. Cool little knickknack. It was cheap too, $1.99. Left it on the shelf for someone else who likes it more. This is pretty cool. It's like sand art in a bottle, $2.99. Some of these, like American ones that are very ornate, are worth like tens of thousands of dollars. And I thought this was pretty cool. I could, if I bought these to put online, I could have sold it for like maybe 10, 15 bucks, but nah, I just thought I'd take a picture of it. This, I think it's made in India or Pakistan, this little knickknack. $3.99, a little bit pricey. It looks like those 200-year-old toys from the States. There was a whole stack of these. I think it's like to commemorate the coronation of one of the kings in Great Britain. And next, here is a Asian painting on silk. I was thinking, is it very old? Should I buy it? I didn't buy it, but oh no, that's sort of like a iffy. This is a huge tabletop, and it's actually for serving Chinese tea. And there's like a built-in drain and whatnot. These things are very expensive, brand new, probably like $1,000 or more. It is interesting to see there. This is some old, I think it's silver-plated pewter, and it's engraved, and I think it's from 1902. Has a name and everything. You could freeze it and read it. Something like from the congregation to their pastor. Oh, 1908. That's it. Bermuda. All right. Sometimes I see these and it says like 925 on the bottom or 800. It's actually silver plated. So when it says like 925 or 800 and it says like 2 grams, I think that's how much silver they use to plate the frame. This could be vintage, probably from, it's like a Buddha statue, probably from the 40s or 50s. And there is, these older ones has like a stamp on the bottom, like the manufacturer, the company, I guess. If it was like 100 years old, I would probably buy it, but from the 40s, nah. This is a vintage toy, 99 cents. It's like a Frisbee. Probably from the 70s. If I was into it, I could have flipped it on eBay and probably sold it for like 10 bucks. This t-shirt is cool. All right. I saw it and I thought, that's pretty funny. It's like, I am your father. No. So that's a floppy disk and that's like the cloud. All right. These were pretty cool. These little glass toothpick holders, and I don't know if it's a cup or something. It was pretty cheap. Another kind of flippable item. This is pretty cool. This is like some sort of cowbell from Iran. I recognize the symbol, the lion with the sword. Or you could say, used to be called Persia. That was a iffy, not sure item. 10 bucks. I mean, if it was like 5 bucks, I would think about it. Oh, I thought this was pretty cute. Yeah, that's like the things I find funny. It's like the periodic table, and it spells out nerdy. That's pretty funny. This is a vintage flashlight. I think it's from the 50s. Pretty cool. But I don't collect that stuff, so leave it for the next person. This is a glass globe paperweight. And I think it's not signed on the bottom, so it's usually those mass-produced China ones, made in China ones. This is a Soviet-era mess kit. I thought that was pretty cool. pretty good condition, made of aluminum, or some people in the UK call aluminium. And this is a Jim Beam liquor bottle, I think whiskey bottle. Pretty cool. Looks like a vintage car, like really antique car. This looks Chinese. I wasn't sure it was made for export. It may not be that old. It's some sort of embroidery with the dragon, maybe from the 50s, 60s. This is a menorah. I think it's menorah. Oh, forgot the name of it. Jewish lamp for holidays, $6.99. This mug was pretty cool. Harvard School of Business. Pretty impressive. You put it on your shelf and say, hey, this is the school I went to. Not. This was in the auction. I missed the auction by one day. I should have called and checked in when was the end of the auction. But it looks like an antique. It could be just a copy, but it looks like an antique Chinese porcelain, hand-painted ceramic container, like for soup or some sort of food stuff. Good quality. I mean, they did really good work. And this little finial, it looks like some sort of fruit on the top. You know, who knows? It might have went for big money. And it has a stamp on the bottom, like from Qianlong, Emperor Qianlong, 1736. But it could be just an honorary mark, like basically reproduction. But yeah, I mean, the workmanship, it's definitely worth at least $100. And if it was real, maybe 50,000. This was pretty cool. This was a little bookend, only one side. Looks like from the 50s, and like a Disney type thing. This was really cool. This is like a Stein, German Stein. And I think it had some age to it. It had a pewter lid. And oh, this is like some sort of gold scale. It was a good price, but there were some missing parts to it. Sometimes old pharmacists, used it to weigh medicine. And also, this was a pretty good price if you're into like little knickknacks. It's behind the counter, and it's like a shelf full of all these little knickknacks. But I wasn't too keen on it. And this, it was going to be a maybe because, this ice cream maker looked pretty cool. And brand new, I think it's worth like $100. Secondhand resells about 50. This was very nice as well. However, I know why it was at the thrift store. There's actually a big crack from the bottom up, I believe. And this is from Britain. Here's the mark on the bottom. I think if it was in perfect shape, it'd be over $100. So this is like an early ceramic art ceramic. Fresh, I think this is cultured pearls. The fittings are sterling silver. The price was pretty good. You can see right there. And this is like a vintage egg timer, 99 cents, made in the USA. These sell for about 10, 15 bucks on eBay. Pretty cool. I thought this was pretty neat. This little decoration with like glass elephants and trees and whatnot. And here, lastly, these gigantic masks just sitting on the floor, but they were like super expensive. I think they were asking like $99 each. I thought that was crazy. Anyways, well, these have been all the finds that I've seen over the weeks but did not purchase, but found interesting. Well, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Coinpicker out.